The past 2 weeks, I've been fixing bugs, changing sounds, text, the story, adding items, levels, menus, and many more. I'm glad to say that everything is working exactly as intended, as I'm now very close to finishing my indie game. Watch this whole video to discover what I've been up to. Let's start. So I don't know about you guys, but I personally love it when I'm able to see what the fuck I'm doing. And since my game was plagued with UI all over, I decided to take it down a notch and make every bit of text on the screen smaller. So the watch timer, the banana counter, the objective, the other timer. I have too many timers. Anyway, now the gameplay has more visibility than ever and I think it's very good. Moving on to the bugs. I cannot stress this enough. If I could go back in time 2 years, I would beat the absolute fuck out of myself. Yeah, so I fixed this bug that was not allowing the enemies to move correctly around some areas. It was a simple fix, making the zones around trees and steep hills have a worse nav score, so the enemies would actively try to avoid it if they could. I also thought for some reason it was a good idea to code a lot of shit every single frame. Why? I don't know. It wasn't even necessary. Next up on the list, I felt like the sounds didn't do justice to my exquisite audio design skills, so I got to work on making everything sound more natural and full. The way I achieved this is by layering. For example, the grass footstep also has the rock footstep in it, just a little quieter. The monster growl has the same audio but pitched down, layered on top of it. And the wings flapping for the eye are 3 different random audios of flapping playing at the same time. Moving on, I'm straight up going to tell you that I lied to you. This is actually the time I added collectibles to my game. They are basically these notes that you can find floating around the map, and inside them you can find a message from this mysterious guy which is trying to guide you around the place. The message pops up with a cool animation, and in order for you to understand the lore, I made it so that you have to collect all the notes on the current level to unlock the next one. Hence this new counter over here. But wait, how exactly do you unlock the next level? Well, I'm glad you asked, viewer who I can't really hear. These. Okay, these may look like rocks, but they're not really rocks. This is a portal. Upon collecting every note Mystery Man has for you, this portal opens up somewhere around the map, and you have to find it and go through it in order to get teleported to the next level. Pretty cool, right? I also tried to add a transition that kinda makes sense with the story and seamlessly gets you from one place to the next one. After that, I got bored, and I just wanted to have some fun, so I added something rather unnecessary, but really necessary at the same time. I thought it would be funny if, whenever you died, the game would show you a message like this one. Now I know, isn't this basically me straight up making fun of you for dying or bullying? And to that I say, yes it is. Anyway, my girlfriend said this one is a little harsh, but it's my personal favorite. What do you think? If you made it this far, please subscribe so my parents don't kick me out of the house and I can continue doing this. Last but not least, I still had to add one more level to the game, so here it is. I'm going to try to not spoil it too much. Basically, it's a challenge where monsters endlessly spawn faster and faster, coming at you from all directions. There is also a zone which is constantly shrinking, making everything considerably harder. Depending on how much you stay alive or how many monsters you end up defeating, I'm going to give you a score. Based on that score, you either get to the end of the story or fail and have to try again, you little bitch. So yeah, it took me a lot of playthroughs to adjust it to my liking because I couldn't make it too easy nor too hard. I also had to keep it interesting, add effects, a boss in the middle, blah blah blah. After all that, I was finally able to call it a day. No, because I had to add one more level, which is essentially like this one, but just a little easier and the zone doesn't shrink. Why? Because that one is tied to the story, and this one is just an actual endless level which you can fight in as long as you please. But why have so many levels if you can only enter the first one from the menu, right? I had to add something where you could, select them. The level selector. The last thing I added during these 2 weeks is a menu which is unlocked after you complete the story mode, the level selector. Here you can play any level that you desire by just, clicking on it. I also had to give them all names to make it cool. Now, as you may have noticed, there are 2 more bonus levels here. I will try to add them as an update since I can't get them done before release, which I'm hoping is going to be this month. I have a lot on my schedule, okay? As a final note, I wanted to clear up something that I posted as a short. I started this game 2 years ago and I had different plans for it. Unfortunately, I'm not really feeling it lately. So all I did this past 2 months was just wrap up everything that was already in the game or written as an idea. This way I can actually call it a day and release it. Even though it's not the best, I think it's still very good, and I can finally move on to different projects peacefully. That's it. I'm Vlad. See you next time.